Greetings everyone. Let's start with today's topic, that is basic concept of management. Here we learn about planning, nature, purpose and functions and steps in planning. So starting with the first topic, that is planning. Planning is the first of essential managerial functions. Planning is important as by nature it inquires about organizational goals and involves decision making about desired ways and means to achieve the goals. Now we'll talk about nature and function of planning, which are the first one is planning focuses on achieving objectives. Management begins with planning and planning begins with the determination of objects. In the absence of objectives, no organization can ever be thought about. With the determination of objectives, the way to achieve the objective is decided in the planning. The second one here is planning is primary function of management. Primary function of management is planning because the other function come after planning. In the absence of planning, no other function of management can be performed. Planning is pervasive as planning concerns all managers. Since the job of planning is performed by the managers at different levels working in an enterprise, it is appropriate to call it all pervasive. Planning is continuous. Planning is continuous process for the following reasons. The first one, which is planning, plans are prepared for a particular period, hence there is a need of a new plan after the expiry of that period. The second one here is in case of any discrepancy, plans are to be revised. The third one here is in case of rapid changes in the business environment, plans are to be revised. Now we'll talk about planning in futuristic. Planning decides the plan of action, what is to be done, how it is to be done, and when it is to be done, and nonetheless by whom it is to be done. All these questions are related to the future. Under planning, answer to these questions are found. The next point here is planning involves decision making. Planning becomes unnecessary when there are many alternatives to do a job. A planner chooses the most appropriate alternative. Therefore, it can be asserted that planning is a process of selecting the best and rejecting the inappropriate. Therefore, it is observed that planning involves decision making. Last point under this is planning is a mental exercise. Planning is known as a mental exercise as it is related to thinking before doing something. A planner has mainly to think about the following questions, which are what to do, how to do it, when to do it, who is going to do it. Now coming to the next topic, which is purpose of planning. The first thing we'll talk under this is facilitates accomplishment of objectives. The aim of planning is to facilitate the attainment of objectives. It focuses its attention on the objectives of the organization. The next point here is ensures economy in operations. Since planning emphasizes efficient operation and consistency, it minimizes cost and gains economical operations. The next one here we'll talk about is precedes control. Control involves those activities which are carried out to force events to conform the plans. Plans serve as a standard of performance. Control seeks to compare actual performance with a set of standards. The next point under this will be provides for future contingency. Planning is required because the future is uncertain. Planning enables a management to look into the future and discover suitable alternative course of action. The next point is facilitates optimum utilization of resources. Various resources that are relevant to an organization, namely funds, physical resources, manpower, technological know-how, etc., are by and large inadequate due to demand of competing organizations and have alternate uses. The next one we'll talk about is prerequisite for the managerial functions. The purpose of planning is to provide a conceptual and concrete basis for initiating and undertaking other managerial functions such as staffing, organizing, directing, and control. All pervasive functions. Planning is a function of managers at all levels through the scope, nature, and the extent of planning differs from one enterprise to another. Irrespective of the level and area of the operation, each and every manager has to perform this function. The next point is coordinates the activities. Coordination is an important factor for the smooth functioning of an organization. Provides for the delegation of authority. Planning provides for the delegation of authority to subordinates. Well-formulated plans serve as guides to subordinates and reduce risk involved in delegation of authority. Now let us come on the next slide, which is steps in planning. There are 7 steps, which are namely as the first one is understanding the client's personal and financial circumstances. The second one is identifying and selecting goals. The third one here is analyzing the client's current course of action and potential alternative course of action. The fourth one here is developing the financial planning recommendations. The fifth one is presenting the financial planning recommendations. The sixth one is implementing the financial planning recommendations, and the seventh one is monitoring progress and upgrading. Thank you.